Hey guys, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new here. Today we're going to be making green chili chicken fajitas. It's an easy recipe with just a few simple ingredients. There I have a little less than half of an onion. I'm going to be using 3 green bell peppers. You can use whatever color you want. I just grabbed the green this week. I have 4 jalapenos. I'm only going to be using 2 of those in this recipe though. For seasoning my chicken, I'm just going really simple with this Himalayan pink sea salt, and it also has black pepper and garlic in it. And we're going to be using green salsa verde. I'm using the Trader Joe's brand today. And 1 can of the diced green chilies. I think that's the 4 ounce can. And you're not going to drain your green chilies. That's just all going to go right in there. Here I have 2 really large chicken breasts. One would do for this recipe for our family, but I know I wanted to have leftovers for the next day. So I'm going to use these 2 really big chicken breasts. So we're just going to get started by chopping up our vegetables. So we're going to start with the onion. I would have used more onion, but that's all I had this day on hand, so I had to make do with what I had. And you're going to cut it pretty thick because this is going to simmer for about 45 to 50 minutes. So you don't want your vegetables chopped too small because, then they're just going to dissolve in your sauce. So cut them pretty thick. I'm just slicing up my peppers and I'm throwing them in my colander back there. That way I can wash them. Once I had those in there, that was the 2. I added 1 more, so I did do all 3. Now to do my jalapenos, I'm just chopping the top off, and I have this little jalapeno core. I love using this when I make poppers. Right now, I'm not worrying about if the core doesn't come out perfect because we're going to be slicing this up. But if you do have one of these and you use it for poppers, make sure you get kind of a big jalapeno because if you have the small ones, it'll just crack it right open. But it's a great little tool for that. So once I got the core out, I just rinsed the rest of the seeds out that were in there. And then I'm going to slice these, again, in pretty big chunks because we don't want them to dissolve in the sauce. So I did leave some of the rib in there, like closer to the bottom, because I like the heat. You could take that out if you don't. And now we're just going to get into slicing up our chicken. So I'm going to slice this into pretty big strips and then cut them in half. Just try to get the size, pretty close, whatever you can do. So I'm going to keep working on that. And then we're going to get the seasoning into the chicken in the bowl. And, you could use like a taco seasoning or a fajita seasoning. I just really like having the taste of the green chilies and whatever type of salsa I'm using. Sometimes I use red salsa also. So that's why I'm just going with the simple salt, pepper, and garlic. But if you want to use a fajita seasoning, that would be good too. So we're just going to add this seasoning and we're going to throw this in the fridge then to marinate for 15-20 minutes. You could let it go longer if you want, but I know it's about time for me to start cooking. So I'm going to finish seasoning, get this in the fridge, and I'll be right back. I have my pan heating with just a little bit of olive oil. I'm not using too much because I had already used olive oil when I seasoned the chicken. I just didn't want it to stick because I wasn't using a nonstick pan this day. So I'm putting the chicken in kind of in batches because we had so much. Wait until it's white on one side, flip it. It doesn't have to be 100% cooked through. I try to get it about 85-90% just so it's white on all the sides because it is going to simmer for a good 45-50 minutes. So here I've kind of stacked the cooked pieces off to the side and I'm putting in what I have left in that bowl. Once it all looks pretty good to me, then it's going to be time to add your salsa and your green chilies. And I'm using the 12-ounce jar and then the whole thing of the can of green chilies that I did not drain. I am going to end up adding some water. I think I used about half of the jar. I filled up that jar of salsa with water and used about half of it. So here I'm putting in my peppers and my onions. And I used most of the peppers. After about 10 minutes, I did add the rest. I think there were like 5 or 6 strips left over. I could have kept them for something else and froze them, but I just threw them in there. And they did all get eaten up because we had this for 2 days. So it ended up being a really big meal. I'm glad I used the 2 chicken breasts. So there I put a lid on it. I had it on really low heat. It's at a really low simmer right here. This is about after 10 or 15 minutes. And at that point is when I added the other peppers. So I covered it, I let it go for about 20 more minutes, and it looked almost done, but I wanted my peppers a little softer, so I covered it and let it go for about another 10 or 15 minutes. Now that it's all done, I've just kept it covered and put it in the back off the heat, and I'm going to start warming up my tortilla. I like to warm my flour or corn tortillas like this right over the flame. It's the best way. If you guys have never done that, give it a try. Maybe use tongs. I know I didn't, but anyway, then my tortilla, it looked like a heart, so I wanted to show you that. I don't know if you can see that, but I thought that was cute. So it's like going to be my Valentine fajita. So once that's done, I'm just going to start adding my toppings. And I'm just using sour cream and cheese today. So I'm just going to put a little bit of sour cream on the bottom. I have pepper jack and cheddar. So on top of the sour cream, I'm going to put the pepper jack. Then I'm going to put my chicken, peppers, and onions. Top it with some cheddar cheese and pour some of that salsa right over the top. This is a really easy meal. I know it's not the quickest because you really do want it to go on low for a good 45, 50 minutes, depending how soft you like your peppers and your onions. And it really does make the chicken really tender when you cook it that low and slow. But you can make it, if you're busy and you're working or something, you can have all your peppers and onions chopped in the fridge. You can have that chicken marinating all day. That way, when you get home, all your meal prep is done. I've also made this in the crock pot many times. I do have a video where I do steak in the crock pot with a red salsa. And the only thing about that, if you are going to do it in the crock pot, you are going to want to add your peppers a little bit later or take them out a little bit early because they do really cook down in the crock pot if you're going to have them in there for 6 or 7 hours. But just an easy meal. It's delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope you guys give this recipe a try. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'd love to have you around. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.